Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the BIZ Info Zone Show. This is our Thanksgiving special broadcast. My name is V. Lynn Hawkins. I'm your host, and I'm just so grateful that you're here spending a few minutes with us today. We're not going to be long, but we're not going to be short, and I can say that because of the wonderful guests that I have. When the two of us get together, we just have the kinds of conversations that start out being short and end up just being full of love and life and expression of our thinking on various and sundry topics. And today, I'm welcoming you to the BIZ Info Zone Show, the special broadcast, and I just want to say something that's been on my heart and on my mind, especially right now. On behalf of Skyhawk Enterprises, the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship, and the BIZ Info Zone Show, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for playing with us. Thank you for being here with us in the zone and in the social marketplace on Google+, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, wherever you are finding us. Thank you for hanging out. And we're reaching thousands of small business owners with our message of empowerment and support through sharing news, information, and more that helps grow sustainable small businesses that are making a huge, huge difference in the world. And there's so much more ahead. So this past year, I was thinking, how could I really express my thanks to all of those who showed up to do an interview with me? And I mean, I could name names: Chief Robert Taltree and Andrea Wolf and Trish Sampson and just so many more who've brought life and who've brought information, who've brought news and cutting edge news and information for you, the savvy social entrepreneur. And today, I just think it's so fitting for me to celebrate with you the Entrepreneur's Thanksgiving, which is really my expression of gratitude behind the communities that I belong to, that I've been welcomed into as the faculty of Directions University, as a faculty member of the Institute for Totalpreneurship, as an expert member of OSBO, the Association of Small Business Owners, and just so much more, the Women's Speakers Association, the Coaching Federation, the experts area, and I'm just so grateful for all of the opportunity that has opened up to me, and I hope is opening up to you by being here in the zone, the BIZ Info Zone. So today, as fitting as it is to celebrate our first Thanksgiving, my guest is the first guest that I had an interview with right here on the BIZ Info Zone Show. And I would love for you to help me welcome Cynthia Gardner O'Neill, who's the owner of the Center of Loving Consciousness and the founder of Heartmonics. She's an author, a speaker, an entrepreneur, and she's a biochemist who studied the heart. And she and I would like to bring to you today our heartfelt gratitude for taking a moment away from your business, your holiday celebration, to join us. Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Lynn. I am so excited to be here with you. Very grateful since we're here, with the entrepreneurial Thanksgiving, and gratitude is the core of all of that. And this is exciting because from our connection and all that we've been doing together, and all the people that you spoke of, has really what brought us together. Directions University. And I just want to put my gratitude out there to that community, because it has brought people like you into my life so that we can bring our message out into the world. And boy, you and I and everyone who we've been coming in contact with have a very strong message to help bring more love into the world, bring heart into business, and to really help us recognize who we are and our connection to one another, the oneness of life. And just to tell you a little bit real quickly about myself, that Lynn introduced me, is I started a business called the Center for Loving Consciousness. I've just come into putting together my services that are harmonics, and that's harmonizing lives to be the life you love. And what got me in that direction of learning about the heart is and all the studies that I've done, and I'm actually a bioacoustic research scientist and energy informatics. I work with frequencies. So a chemist, I don't know if I could have made it through the chemistry.
The chemistry of energy. How's that?
Yeah, I felt really smart when you said that, though. Or even smarter. I should. So I want to thank you so much for bringing that in. But we're really finding heart coming back into business, and so I'm going to just put that out there, because we're going to be talking about that and the gratitude and the wonderful things that are happening. So I'm going to give that back to you, Lynn, because thanks for that introduction and bringing me here today, because it was so exciting starting with you from the very beginning and seeing where you are now. It just excites me and thrills me to see your success, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it.
Thank you. I am so grateful to have you as a part of it and to share the successes that you've seen since the very beginning as well. And, I'm so glad you mentioned about harmonics and the harmonizing heart and business. I was on Facebook last night and chatting with a friend of mine who's also an energy worker, and she does a lot of speaking. She's an author, and she was speaking to a group of professionals, attorneys and accountants and, people who I can resonate with in the left brain sphere. And she was talking about how she was kind of surprised that these were people who, didn't have the vernacular to talk about, the whole spiritual aspect of karma, and, they had their basic knowledge of energy and like that. But what they brought to her conscious awareness was the fact that they know that there is something bigger that's coming into the world, especially through business owners, in that it's not part of what we have been all about prior to now, which is really the left brain, analytics, not that systems are to be thrown out, but truly a system-generated type of world where, it's been very linear. And if you take that linear plane against the work of the heart, you can tell how there are a lot of dynamics in the corporate environment and in the work world where people don't have the beat of their heart involved in it. When they don't and can't share the excitement that they feel over what it is that they're doing, they can't show the dynamics of creativity in what it is that they're doing. It's actually one of the reasons why Google has done so well in building their intellectual talent, because they recognize that while people may not understand it, colors and just, the non-traditional makeup of the workplace is allows the heartbeat to come into things. So tell me what your perspective has been on bringing the heart aspect into the business arena where you're traveling.
Well, right now what's really amazing is how many businesses are really recognizing, the heart in business. And before I tell, and I'm going to speak to who they are and everything a little bit here, But the reason why we're having that come in is because people are recognizing what their heart's desire is, which is, learning more about the heart. And who really heads a lot of that up, that I actually have studied with for about 20 years now. I brought my kids up on it, is heart math. And, there's several documentaries that are out that heart math has contributed to, and there are many businesses and wellness providers and things like that that constantly are quoting the science of heart math. So they're big. They're big as far as me also recognizing inside of me what's going on. The reason why the studies that I have done is because I am an empath. I'm also known as a clairsentient, which my heart is actually what connects with people. Our hearts are what are the connection between all of us. Your heartbeat is the signature sound of you. That specific frequency, your heartbeat, is every frequency that ever was a part of who you are. Okay? And when you're created, sound creates form. In the beginning was the word, which is actually sound. And your heartbeat is the frequencies. When I say sound creates form, sound, there's cymatics, there's Dr. Mansuro Moto, he's brought into about how sound affects our cells and everything. Well, your heart
with the water testing, yeah.
Your heart is what communicates with every single cell in your body. Every single cell. But the heart gives out 60 times more amplification than any part of your body, and brings back 5,000 times more electromagnetic back to you. So what we're putting out, we're getting back 100 times plus. So when you're in being, an entrepreneur or, and in business and everything, what's in your heart is actually when people walk in your door or people even talk to you, they're feeling who you are. We feel first before we think. And, the vagus nerve coming from the heart passes through the vocal cords. And that is an expression of you through your voice. Now, that's what I learned from working with Sherry Edwards with Sound Health, the bioacoustics. Bioacoustics is the biosounds of humans. Okay, so the sound that's coming from my voice, you're not only hearing it, you're feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
You know how we can feel sometimes when we're just talking to someone, whether they're being honest with you or not, or things like that. I mean, and you don't know what it is, but you're also, number one, you're feeling what's coming from the heart. But if you're speaking with them, you're also getting the signature sound of them through their voice. So you're getting hit. And it all is heart-based. So that's all bringing, people are recognizing that. I mean, we've been talking about conscious communication too. So, and people have been using NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And I work with, I've studied with a man named Robert Tennyson Stevens, who does conscious language mastery systems, which I will, as part of harmonics. And just people are recognizing, when we're speaking with people in business, are we speaking from our hearts? Are we speaking from the brain, okay, the ego side, and one cannot be here without the other. We definitely need right and left brain, that whole brain balance. When we're in our hearts, guess what where we are? We're also in whole brain balance. When we are coherent with our heart's desire, and being compassionate and grateful for what we already have.
Tell us a little bit about and I always find this so fascinating, the origin of the heart. Where does the heart start? I mean, when did it start? How does it play in our evolving in our lives? Tell us a little bit about the science of the heart.
Well, the one thing that I have learned is the embryonic heart cell is the first cell upon our conception, and that just amazed me when I saw that. And then, when we're find out that there's a baby there, and you know, we hear their heartbeat. And that beating of the heart is a sound that's creating you. It's creating patterns of who you are. And so the heart, then the next, you know, the first organ upon your conception is the heart. And the heart, you know, has different cells in it because it has muscle cells, it has, you know, in order for the heart to beat. You know, and I have a lot of that information on my website at lovingconsciousness.com, wisdom/of/your/heart. And so you can go there because also there I have a video by Heart Math called Heart Intelligence. And so there's a lot of information on there to help you with learning more about your heart. But also, when I was speaking about cells in the heart, 2/3 of the heart is neurological brain cells. It's your first brain. And then, you know, goes to our brain that's in our head. And and I always say, get out of your head and into your heart, because your heart is so much wiser than your brain.
And that has, when you first said that, that stuck with me like glue, because I do on occasion find that I am so in my head with, how am I going to get this done? When is this due? What do I need to do next? Let me set this up. And it really does take me more into my head, not to mention the fact that I've recently come to realize that a lot of the conversations that I have with different people, my brain went into, this is this type of person, have this kind of conversation. And you talk about NLP, there are some people that you speak different words to when you think that they are a certain type of person. Mm. And there's some people that you can consciously kind of govern the types of words that you use, because, I mean, we know that there's visual words, there's auditory words, you know, visual, I see what you mean. Auditory, I hear what you mean. Kinesthetic, I feel you. And, you know, you can really determine how a person is by first listening to what it is that they're saying. And what I realized, based on what you're saying now and what I've learned from you thus far, is that even in that communication, you're hearing the heartbeat. You're seeing their actions from their heartbeat, and you're feeling them when they're communicating with you, even verbally. And I think that, you know, many of us, I know I just recently, in the last year or so, learned so much about the heart. And the fact that it has its own brain, it makes so much sense how it could be the governing factor that really causes the subconscious to aid it in doing what it does. And so thank you for kind of expanding on that, because I think it's important for our audience to know, especially those business owners who are social entrepreneurs, want to be more in the realm of social entrepreneurship and, you know, earn more money so that they can do more good in the world. And it stems from the heart's desire. You know, Napoleon Hill said, if there is something that you care about and you want that badly, it has to be a burning desire. And it can't be a burning desire until it becomes a heart desire. That, I think, is the deep of it all.
Yes. And, you know, I just want to add, you know, emotional intelligence. They call that EQ. There's lots of information out there, and it's being brought into education, into corporations, into even wellness industries and everything, because they're having a huge change in bullying, you know, also helping people love themselves more, and it all comes from emotion. And and I'm getting involved in a project right now on a documentary that is about EQ, and they call it The Smart Heart. So I'm really looking forward to bringing that out into the world. And Matt Perlstein, who's a part of all that, and his New Directions workshops. But we're going to bring all that in. And what the base of emotions, this is what's so huge about the heart, and energy in motion. We are all energy. And
Everything is energy. Yeah.
in a lot of
Why wouldn't we be energy if we know that everything is energy?
everything, that's the heartbeat. That's the energy in motion. So your emotions are so, connected to what you decide to do with your business and your life. What gets you emotionally involved in a project such as what you're doing, the Permission to Be Powerful project? It's an emotional connection that you're making a difference in this world.
It is.
And that is huge. That is huge. And so that's why I think you bringing up socialpreneurship and how people are, taking that, a for-profit business and subsidizing their nonprofit. The business model of Tom's Shoes, for example. If anybody wants to look at that model, that's a good model to look at. Is what also what Lynn has been bringing into our world, to really pay attention to how we can really allow our heart's desire to soar with our businesses and make a difference in the world.
And you mentioned that. I love the story of Tom's Shoes starting as a nonprofit, trying to figure out innovative ways to build their nonprofit. It made sense for them to become a for-profit business, make and sell their shoes to the general public, and utilize funds from that to help support their nonprofit. And, there's so many of us who are thinking, well, I have my for-profit business. How can I do more of the work in the world that I'm so passionate about? Do I have to start a nonprofit and funnel money to it in order to do this work? Well, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to align with someone who is already fulfilling the needs of that social cause, and in aligning with them. And I speak to that to speak to the documentary that you're talking about. That's a nonprofit organization who's bringing smart heart information out to the world in a huge way, because it's time. And it's time for those of us who have the heart's desire to do more in the world to really spend the time to figure out how it is that we can do that. And we don't have to do it all. That's what's so beautiful about being in a space like the BIZ Info Zone Show. You find the people who maybe you're able to align with and make that connection so that you can serve your heart's purpose and your heart's desire, and you don't have to do it all. One of the things that many of the people I talk to that come into my world say, does that mean, with what it is I want to do, does that mean I have to start a whole new business? Well, no, it doesn't. Managing one business and keeping your focus on bringing in revenue to your main business, your purpose, is the key to your being able to do more in the world. And in a lot of instances, it only means that aligning with that nonprofit organization or that cause will garner the kind of recognition that gets people to notice you, see more of what you're doing, like you, trust you, do business with you, that they wouldn't otherwise have seen. CVS is a great story. Huge, huge conglomerate. CVS stores. CVS is so, they have come so far into the social conscious mindset that they decided, after doing lots of the studies and the analysis, they decided that they no longer would support the sale of tobacco and tobacco-related products in their stores. Outside of how to stop smoking, they don't sell it, they don't advertise it, and what they do advertise is what they're in business for, and that's health and wellness. And they determined that they would lose upwards of $1 billion the first year after making this declaration. But they went on to further analyze the flip side. So if we're doing this, what can we expect? And what they determined was within 2 to 3 years, they would increase their revenue in the realm of about $4 billion. That's a 200% increase in revenue because of taking a stand against something that is killing people, something that is legal, that is a profit monster, that is killing people. And they've made a stand. And you know what? I don't smoke. I used to. I'm a reformed smoker, and even being a half a block from someone who's smoking a cigarette puts me in distress. And because of that, I'm a promoter of not smoking, and I shop at CVS. They also have aligned with a company here in Atlanta, well, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, who takes plastic and refines the plastic into a form that they make sandals. And they sell those sandals in CVS stores, and on occasion you can get them at very low prices. And what I've come to do is, in buying a pair, I buy an extra pair, and I donate that extra pair. It's the Tom Shoes philosophy that's ingrained in me now. If I can't buy Tom shoes, is there something else that I can do? And this company's shoes are biodegradable. So they have a process where when they're thrown away, they actually break down in the environment to be, not harmful to the environment. And so, we are looking for, as business owners, things to support in that realm. And what I love about our conversation today is how the heart plays so deeply into the concept of giving, as well as the concept of building in order to receive more in business.
And that's the cycle. This is really that you brought this up. It's forgiving and receiving. We must be open to receiving back. So many people, I listen to them talk about how, they give, but no one ever gives back to me. The thing is are you open to receiving in the way that they have to give to you? A lot of us are stuck in the way that we give, and we expect someone else to give back to us the same way we gave to them. It doesn't work that way. We have to allow each individual, their individual heartbeat, okay? Your unique heartbeat is a signature sound of you, and it is so important to this world that it adds to and contributes and makes a difference in this world. And so this is where we're moving into also accepting each other just the way we are. This is helping us let go of judgment of one another. All this racial stuff that's been happening, and the thing, in Ferguson is incredible. But, challenges are here to help us grow. I believe whenever we get into challenges, and they've shown this over and over again, when we go through these huge spurts like 9/11 or whatever, the compassion comes out even tenfold. This is the heart stuff that's going on. Yeah. So right now, anger's coming out over there, and tenfold come back as people are going to look at themselves and hopefully forgive themselves. Everyone, if whatever discordance that happens, that we forgive ourselves and others, because it's not saying that what they did was okay. What it's saying to you is to help you set yourself free, to bring yourself to a higher energy, and be grateful for who you are, and that you can contribute in a way that raises consciousness. And one of the things I want to bring up is I'm a part of a project along with you with Totalpreneur. And they're getting ready to come out with the World Love Week, and and I'm just going to say something here to that is A totalpreneur is an emotionally based expression of a passion to change hearts and bring heart back into business, supporting causes with higher education, therefore resolving problems at a higher level of consciousness in which they were created. Now, Einstein said, you cannot solve a problem at the level of consciousness it was created. And this is what you were talking about with CVS. You know, they have gone in and decided, gosh, you know, how can I help solve a problem if I'm contributing to it in the way that I am? You know? And so this is the same thing for everybody out there. So look at Ferguson, you know, what's happening there is what happened, you know, that angered them, they're going back in with anger. They're not going to change the consciousness level by, you know, doing things that are at a lower consciousness. You're just bringing more war and hatred and more racism and violence. Do you want more of that? And that's the big question that Harmonics, I have 3 questions that I ask people, okay, to get them into the heart, to help them start flowing with that higher consciousness, that loving consciousness. And it is number 1, when you're in pain, ask yourself what you'd rather have instead and go there. So a lot of people, when my clients, when I first see them, when they're in pain, I'll ask that question, and 90% of them first say no pain. Guess what? They're still in the same consciousness. They're still focused on pain. They will not remove the pain as long as they're still focused on it. So I ask them, what's the opposite? What's the reciprocal of pain? And each one comes up with a different word. And one of the words that I had recently was a woman said serenity. So feel that, because words carry frequency. So put serenity out there. Say, I'd rather feel serenity. And the other part of this is it's not a lie. I have so many people when we've gone through the positive, think positive, and say these affirmations. Well, a lot of people go, gosh, I'm in pain. I can't say that. I'd be lying to myself. But guess what? When you say what you'd rather have instead and go there, it's not a lie. And then once you get that, so serenity, is serenity healthy for you? That's the second question. Is serenity healthy for you? Well, I would say yes. You know, serenity is healthy for many people. But the third question is, what's the adverse consequence to you having serenity? All right, you've been in pain. Why have you chosen pain over serenity? There's a lot of things that go along with that, and you might say, you know, there's no adverse consequence to having serenity. Well, you know, there's done lots of studies. Like I am a thought field therapy Callahan techniques trainer, which a lot of people know of EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. That comes from thought field therapy, Roger Callahan, and we did a study with 32 people that, you know, this one study that they did, where they had IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And for 3 months, they taught them a tap to relieve anxiety and stress. And out of the 32 people, 30 people came out with not having irritable bowel syndrome. And but it still remained with 2 people. So we interviewed them and said, all right, what is it about this, this tap that we gave you that didn't work for you? The first woman, she said, well, I decided not to use it at all because if I got better, I would have to have sex with my husband. And she was in an abusive relationship, so that kept her safe. And I totally got that because when I was a child, I went through a lot of that abuse and everything, and I was sick and I was paralyzed for a little while. And that was my way of protecting myself. So sometimes we will hang on to pain and illness and dis-ease in order to protect ourselves. And then the other woman, she was on, she said, I started to use it and feel better. But if I got better, I would lose my disability. And she couldn't imagine herself being healthy and being able to support herself, and she felt that that was the only way that she could live in this world. So we all have adverse consequences to us having what our heart desires. You know, and we've been so desensitized in this world, you know, to not feel what is ours and what is someone else's, what is healthy for us and what isn't. So that's what harmonics is all about, is harmonizing your life to be the life you love. And that's why I'm here to be so grateful that we have the opportunity to share this with people and see the heart moving into business, into corporations, into our wellness industry, into education. And you, my dear Lynn, you are awesome to be bringing me here so that we can teach people about our emotional connection, the energy and motion that's here for us, to teach us that we are this heartbeat of life, that our energy, our heartbeat is so important to bringing more happiness and joy into so many lives, just through us finding that peace and happiness and joy and love within our own hearts, because it begins here with inside ourselves. And then you will contribute to the world and help change the world with your own heartbeat.
That's so important, and that is one of the things that we focus on in a big way here in the zone. The speakers and presenters and coaches and teachers that are brought to this audience are brought to deliver the things that will open doors for our audience, and opening the door to understanding how the heart can play in how it is that you grow your business, how it is that you grow your business, and focusing on the thing that's bigger than you. Many of the entrepreneurs that I work with say, you know, either I would love to increase revenue and do something like this, or I've got the revenue and there's so many options, what can I do? And it truly is around the strategy. You know, it is the knowing the destination so that you know how to design your path to get there. There are 261 ways to get from point A to point B. Which one would you like to take, or which combination of routes would you like to take?
Yeah.
And okay, we've had this conversation before too, but it's true. You must know where it is that you want to go. So developing the strategy of how to bring something into your business that really speaks to what your heart is all about. It actually adds to the building of your culture, the culture of your business, the things that people will resonate with, that will have them wanting to partner with you, joint venture with you, be an affiliate of yours, do business with you, help you to do more business by referring you. And it is in how it is that your heart shows up in what it is that you're doing. I know that a lot of the entrepreneurs that I've been blessed to work with have actually come out of the corporate environment, and I had the awesome experience of hearing Simon Mainwaring describe his story. Huge in the area of marketing and branding, and in the advertising business, did huge work with huge companies, yet he felt like something was missing. He was pouring his heart into these things, yet his heart wasn't jumping at what benefit it was bringing to those he was working for, because it was basically about dollars and cents to them. Mm. Whereas with a slight shift in his focus, he's now able to actually help people who he can connect with on a heart basis, and really do this huge branding and marketing work that he does to help small businesses, and still work with his corporate clients, because of course we are, you know, as entrepreneurs, we have to stay in that mind of revenue. But there are a number of ways to bring in revenue, and there are a number of ways to show our heart in our work. and Simon to talk about how he works with some of the companies that he works with now, and he's able to help, yet they are not the big dollar, Nike and Schwab and that kind of a corporate structure. And he can bring these beautiful, huge branding genius ideas into what would take a small business so much more. And that's where we have the opportunity to really open our hearts, spread our hearts. And I love how you put it, because you actually call it love.
Yeah. Loving consciousness. It is the higher consciousness. It is, we are born from love as love. And so many of us do not understand really what love is, because really, do we talk about it at all? We're born, and we're just a family and all this other stuff, but I don't remember anyone ever having a conversation with me about what love is, what it really means. And there's a lot of stuff out there that they say sex sells. But really what they're selling there, because we've been programmed and conditioned to think that, we make love with sex. This is my lover, things like that. So really, we have a society that goes out there, what we're looking for. The wisdom we seek is to know we are love. And that's why a lot of that stuff, does sell, but we are confused. There's a little confusion there about really what those two things are. I won't get into that whole realm, because there's so much more to be said about that. Maybe we can have a show about that. But really, it's just about finding that place inside of yourself, your heartbeat, your signature sound of you. You are so needed in this world. Your heart, your unique being, your value and worth is the love that you are. And recently I had a conversation about a value-to-value relationships. Value-to-value relationships are what we do here with our businesses. Even in the background, I'm finding what's beautiful about loving consciousness and the value I have to give is in the background. I'm having value-to-value relationships with people who are giving me their value. Our exchange of value might not be the monetary thing of money. But we have to recognize that money is energy. It's energy in motion. So value can come from your service to one another. It doesn't have to have that monetary value, which can build a business where you can collaborate and joint venture and be of service to one another, which will in the long run bring that monetary value back into your business. Sharing with each other, joint venturing. That's what we're talking about, value-to-value relationships.
And it's a perfect segue into a value-to-value opportunity that has been created that we're both a part of, and it's around a book. And when I think about the whole book thing, the book is, like the newest real craze. Everybody needs to write one, and everyone does. Don't let the everybody should have a book cliche keep you from writing your book. One of the things that impacted me so strongly when I first got into the realm of personal development was, and I think it was Tony Robbins was talking about how, where is most of the knowledge in the world today? And to hear him say it's buried in all of the graveyards where people have taken their story, taken their gift, and taken it with them without sharing it with the world. Mm-hmm. That's where all of the knowledge and the heart and the information and, all of the things that people have had to give that can be put into a book, all of the people that I look at that I know that have had such tremendous stories. And it really guided me to being open to receive the download that I was to do a book. And I have to tell this short story because it was really key in bringing about the project that we're working on. It was downloaded to me to do a book, and I thought, oh, good, a book. I want to do a book. I had already been a co-author in a book, and I knew the value of having a book to build credibility and visibility and to use it as a tool to get speaking engagements, and I had been doing that and very successfully. This time it was different. It was my own book, but then I got the download that the subject matter is going to be so much bigger, and I want you to share this. It's a co-author project. And so I thought, okay, I like that idea. It gives me an opportunity to be in the space of social entrepreneurship by sharing this opportunity. However, that wasn't the end of it. The next download was that it has to morph into a project that will benefit millions. And I thought, oh my God, is that huge or what? And why me? And all the other stuff that can come to a person because of having that gift to my heart. I had to walk through it. And I had to walk through it from every stage of resistance, from the greatest resistance to the least resistance to the surrender. And then what is happening now is a result of receiving the gift, receiving the guidance, receiving the people who have come to join me in this project. And it is the bigger project is a nonprofit project that's a literacy project that will initially benefit girls and women. And then, it's kind of like, well, there are so many girls and women out here. What I know about business is if you don't have a niche, you're going nowhere because you can't go everywhere. And so we've determined that the initial market that we're going to is girls aging out of foster care, who are looking at the world and saying, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? I want to go to school, but I can't afford it, and all of these other things come up for them. We're looking at girls who are coming out of juvenile detention, and maybe they've been there long enough to see the world differently on the outside this time, and they have to go back into similar environments that they came out of, and they're questioning, what does life hold for me? We're looking at women who've been incarcerated who are transitioning back into the world, into society. And the statistics are so horrible around women being rehabilitated to return to society. And the greater percentage actually go back to prison because that is the life that they have learned to live. And they can do well there. Our goal is to have the stories of 20 co-authors to impact these lives. Again, I say initially, because what we're doing is actually speaking in the chapters of this book called Permission to Be Powerful. We're actually speaking our Shiro's journey. We're actually speaking where we came from and where we journeyed. What tool, what favorite tool or trick or strategy we use to help us to make this journey, to stand in a place where we are now saying, I am standing in my power to do what I'm here to do, to be the woman that I was born to be, and to have all that God has ordained for me to have in this life. And I want to share that with others. And these girls and women in particular will be able to not only study these stories by reading the book, they'll have a study guide, and there'll be small groups. So they'll have a leader and a leader guide to guide them through learning the intricacies of this book. And they will have new tools in their life toolbox to be able to walk back out into society, to be able to pick up their lives from wherever they are right now and know that they can dream again. And they also will have an opportunity to write their own story and potentially be published in a book series called Permission to Win. Now, I realize that's a lot that I've just said right there, but you have to feel the passion that is expressed in what that project will bring to not just the co-authors who are businesswomen. We are going to be speaking on stages to other businesswomen because the stories of our journey encompass our business. But the biggest piece and the biggest impact that we want to have in the world is making sure that these stories and these tools get in the hands of girls and women who we know will be able to gain from hearing and studying these things. And it's going to be everything from harmonics to EFT to hypnosis to charisma. Did you know that we are all born with charisma? And it is one of the essential elements of our being that, depending on how we grew up, we've used it and overextended ourselves in charisma and, maybe perverted it, or we've learned to hone it in and be able to maneuver and do huge things in the world. Or we're awakening to the aspect of heart and charisma and can now bring that forward because we're learning who it is that we are and what it is that we can do because we've got an innate ability called charisma and so much more like that. I'm just so blessed and grateful to have been gifted this opportunity to bring these co-authors, of which Cynthia is one, and others. Terry Talltree and Chief Robert Talltree have with us. They have a business called How to Live on Purpose. A huge part of the inner workings of what it is that we're doing and what it is that we're sharing with the world. Natalie Ledwell, who will be writing the foreword to the book with Mind Movies, and totally instrumental player in what it is that we're doing and how it is that we are gifting in the world. We've got Gina Gaudio Graves, who really is in the business sector, having mindset as a huge piece of the work that she delivers, but she has created the vortex model of doing business that is so instrumental in, honestly, how I have been able to rework my business and bring this project into what it is that I'm doing in business and what it is that I'm able to do in the world from a social entrepreneurship standpoint. I mentioned that as faculty of social entrepreneurship for Directions University, that's one of the things that I contribute to the university. And Cynthia is also faculty at Directions University. We want to give you the opportunity to engage with us, to feel our hearts of gratitude, and to understand how having a book can benefit you in so many ways. I mentioned Cynthia's an author. She's actually working on a new book, but she's brought a book with her today that has really been a huge contributor, and you're going to hear more about this book over time, but we've started a new segment in the BIZ Info Zone called A Book in Your Business and Your Business and a Book. How do you make it all happen? And it is truly the value that you bring to the world by writing your book. And during this segment, we're going to either do a short author interview, do short. How do I bring my book into the business? How do I get my business to become a book? So join us for future shows to get a piece of that segment. But right now, we're going to talk about a book that was written in in 1950, actually got copyrighted and published in the early 70s. And it has made its way in the realm of children's literature that is so apropos to business and life today, much like the Dr. Seuss books. You know, we were reading Dr. Seuss to our kids, and then it hit us, oh my gosh, there's a really huge and great life lesson in that. Well, this is another one of those examples. So Cynthia, tell us a little more about the book and read us some of it so we can get a taste of it.
Okay, well, I want to bring up this book has been a huge part of my life, and what, me helping teach people that we're all energy. And, our heart is that main part of the energy that we are. And so I would take this to a lot of my trainings, and actually I haven't actually contacted the author and the illustrator of this book, which I am going to do right after we get done here. But it's called All I See Is a Part of Me. And they won in Body, Mind, Spirit magazine an award of excellence back in 1998 for this book. And it's written by Shara M. Curtis and illustrated by Cynthia Aldrich. And since we do have a little, I'm just going to, this is it here. And just to show you, I'm just going to open up to a page to show you some of the beautiful illustrations and art. I don't know if you can see that. But, so I'm going to just do a quick, it just starts out, it's so beautiful because it just starts out, I am a part of all I see, and all I see is a part of me. I am my hands, I am my feet, I am the puppy across the street. I am the moon, I am the stars, I'm even found in candy bars. I used to think that I was small, a little body, that was all. But then one day I asked the sun, "Who are you?" He beamed, "We are one." "But Mr. Sun, how is this true? How can I be both me and you?" He smiled, "You might ask your sister star. She too is a part of who you are." And so I waited till the night when darkness let me see her light. "Sister star, how can it be that I am you and you are me?" She glowed, "You're larger than you know. You are every place there is to go. You have a body, this is true, but look at what's inside of you." And this is what we are talking about here. Look at what is inside of you. And it goes on, and it's just a beautiful book. And what is inside of you is this heart, this unique heartbeat, the signature sound of you that is making a difference in this world. That's the energy in motion, the emotional intelligence, the wisdom of your heart that is speaking to all of us, that's making a difference in your business, what you're here to bring to the world as an entrepreneur, as even your gift of having whatever job that you've decided to do in this world to contribute to. But the contribution of you in this world is your heartbeat. And to have that coherence and harmonize it, it's about going to the love that you are. And bringing up the love that you are, that is a book that is written by one of my mentors, Glenda Green, who I'm finishing my doctorate in divinity with. And there was in there, it said, "Love creates all life through its desire for experience." And we cannot have an experience in this world without relationship to someone or something. That is the value-to-value relationship that we are here talking about. And I am here being so grateful that you are in this world with me, that your value is so important to this world, your heartbeat, your unique service proposition. We hear about the USP of who we are, what we're here to serve, and it means something else. So can you just throw that in? I'm going to let you finish up with that USP point.
Well, many of us in business actually teach about your unique selling proposition, and it is really this statement about who you are. However, when you know, people think about selling, especially women entrepreneurs. It's, I don't want to sell. I want to do my business in a way that doesn't make me the used car salesman around the corner. And selling just, I cannot see it, feel it, taste it. There's nothing about selling that I want to do. Well, I have to tell you that you're an entrepreneur, you're in business, you will be selling some things, but to sell is the exchange. To serve is the heart. And
Mm.
exchanging your heart for what will come in return in the way of money, you know, the monetization piece, or something better. It happens through your heart and through service. And, you know, one of the biggest things that I think about when I think about service is Mother Teresa. And there are a lot of people who believe that Mother Teresa was poor. Mother Teresa was the third wealthiest woman in the world before she passed away. And I have to tell you, she didn't get that way by not selling anything. And she didn't get that wealthy by people just gifting to her. Mother Teresa spoke in various places and she got paid for speaking. Mother Teresa got her expenses paid to travel, to do certain things. And that's how, and she's a great businesswoman. And so, you know, for women to take the example of being a great, a master business person, a master giver, and combining that with being a master receiver allows you, as Cynthia said, to have the circle complete. And that's one of the things that I teach and is part of the program of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship. And to close us out today in the humblest of gratitude for you joining us today, for Cynthia, you joining me today, I just want to say you can find more information about the Institute of Totalpreneurship if you'd like to partake of some of the courses for entrepreneurs, or if you'd like to become part of the faculty. If you would like some information regarding Directions University, you can find information at p3academy.com. You can find information on the event page that will give you links to both Cynthia, the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship, to Directions University, to the Institute of Totalpreneurship, and you will be able to, in coming back to join us for future shows, find out more about how you can bring that book out of you that can relate to your business, be the story of your journey, and do so much more for so many out in the world. Now, I'd like to leave you with one thing, and that is give yourself permission to be the powerful you that you were born to be. Give yourself permission to be the life that you love and live that life with all that you are. Thank you for being with us today. We've had Cynthia Gardner O'Neill with Hartmonics and the Center for Loving Consciousness with us as our guest today. I'm Velyn Hawkins. I'm your host of the BIZ Info Zone Show. And join us, too. We've got an upcoming show, the Permission Movement Show, where you can find out more about the Permission Movement. You can find out more about the Permission Movement experience, and you'll be hearing more about that as well. So once again, this has been our Entrepreneurs Thanksgiving show, and it really has been about heart and gratitude and all of the things that brings about, from forgiveness to giving to being open to receiving and allowing the life that you love to unfold. Now, there are many of you who are doing Thanksgiving in so many different ways. I would love it, and I am so grateful to you for taking the time to enjoy your family and friends. And those of you who aren't with family and friends, know that my heart is going out to you today. And I bless you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Thanks for joining us today, and bye for now. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye. Love you all.